Good evening, my name is Caden Green and I'm doing my project on Norway. And I first just want to thank my audience of Abby helping me out, and Miles and Chandler on the filming. And let's get started. So the location of Norway, here's a little map for you. This is Russia, everyone knows what Russia is. So you just go over Sweden, Norway is right here. So some of the geographical advantages, one of them is lots of snow. Obviously, it allows for more practice for their winter sports, which they are really good at, and we'll get more into that later. And they also have lots of rivers that provide hydroelectric power, fertile soils for agricultural land use, and flat land for industry. So one of the geographical disadvantages is also that they have lots of snow because that doesn't allow for them to have all 4 seasons. And they also have a high cost of living based off their location. So some of the historical events start off in 10,000 BC, which is first traces of man in Norway. Then you move to 793 to 1066 AD, is the Viking Age. And then union with Denmark. And then 1814 had the union with Sweden. And then May 1945, Norwegian independence. So the political structure of Norway, they are a parliamentary democracy and constitutional monarchy. They are governed by a prime minister, a cabinet, and a 169-seat parliament that is elected every 4 years and cannot be dissolved. They divide state power between the parliament, the cabinet, and the Supreme Court. So this is a picture of King Harold V, and the king actually has very political power, as all legislative power resides in the elected parliament led by a prime minister, and they are divided into 19 counties, which merged in 2018. So constitutional development, the Norwegian Constitution signed by the Atwater Assembly on the 17th of May, 1814, transformed Norway from being an absolute monarchy into a constitutional monarchy. So some of the economic structure, one of the world's most prosperous countries, their oil and gas production account for 20% of its economy. And some of their other important sectors include hydropower, fish, forests, and minerals. State revenues from petroleum are deposited in the world's largest sovereign wealth fund, and their unemployment is currently very low. So it's more about the past of their economic structure. They became a charter member of NATO in 1949 and joined the European Free Trade Association. So some culture there, I don't want to read all this word for word, but they're very accepting of LGBT rights and just everybody. They're not going to discriminate against anybody. They have 2 different written forms of language, and most people use the one called Bokmål. And 95% of the population speaks Norwegian as their first language. So English is actually the primary foreign language taught in their schools. And going back to their humility and respect and simplicity and equality, those are the attributes that they try to live off of and embed in every Norwegian. So some of the sports structure, I know this is a lot, but so they have a developed model, the division of labor between public authorities and voluntary sports organizations. The state funds multiple ways to go about supporting sport in health, education, and culture. And the voluntary sports sector comprises of the umbrella organization, which is the Norwegian Olympic and Paralympic Committee and Confederation of Sports, and its system of national special sport organizations, district sport organizations, regional special sport organizations, local sport councils, and over 12,000 sport clubs. So some more about their sport structure. The public sport and movement activities are governed by 3 different ministries. First off, the Ministry of Health and Care Services, the Ministry of Education and Research, and the Ministry of Culture. So the Norwegian Olympic and Paralympic Committee and Confederation of Sports, they are an umbrella organization. They organize all national sports federations in Norway. They have 2.1 million memberships, 55 national federations, 17 regional confederations, 375 sport councils, and just shy of 11,000 clubs. And the General Assembly of NIF is the supreme governing body of organized sport and is held every 4th year. The federations in Norway organize and manage individual sports. One person can be registered as a member in multiple sports, and the regional confederations serve as collective bodies for sports within each of Norway's 17 counties. So the primary sports, they're winter sports, all types of skiing, which include cross-country, ski jumping, and downhill skiing, curling, snowboarding, and ice hockey. I'm sure y'all have heard of most of those. And then soccer is actually their most popular sport. I'm sure most people believe that skiing or something in the winter sport range is the most popular, but it's actually soccer. Harness racing, which is horses pulling a two-wheeled cart with a person riding in it. And then they like to bet on sports, and a biathlon, which is a combination of cross-country skiing and rifle shooting. So some of their history, they ranked 8th in the world in 2012 in ice hockey. Mats Zuccarello Asen, he's the most recognized ice hockey player of Norway. And Ole Gunnar is the manager of Cardiff City in the Premier League, and he's only the 2nd Norwegian to fill a role like this. So a little background of their Olympic medals. So for Summer Olympics, they won 56 gold, 49 silver, and 48 bronze for a total of 153. In their Winter Olympics, they won a lot more, obviously. And they have 132 gold, 126 silver, and 110 bronze for a total of 368. So sport plays a huge role in their society. It's a way of life, and it kind of brings them all together. They watch all the sports together, and if they're not watching sports, then they're probably out skiing, which a lot of articles were saying. And obviously they're mainly winter focused, except their most popular sport being soccer. And a Norwegian proverb claims that Norwegians are born with skis on their feet. So that was a little cool thing that describes Norwegians and their love for sport. So to conclude, Norwegians love sports, as I kept saying. Soccer is their most popular, despite outside belief. People are valued for their honesty, respect, and goodness without any need to judge others on their professional standing. And I hope you learned something about Norway and their culture, values, and their way of life.